This is Biology 2, Chapter 17, Part 3, on Organizing Life's Diversity. In this portion of the video lecture, we will be taking a very quick cruise through highlighted tour of the domains and kingdoms of life. Once we have the binomial nomenclature system that Carl Linnaeus set up hundreds of years ago that has served us quite well, it became necessary to kind of group everybody and put everybody in their place. So modern biological classification and taxonomy has 6 kingdoms and 3 domains, which, interesting side note, is different from what I learned when I was in biology. I was on the 5 kingdom system. It was decided that after looking at the former domain and kingdom of Monera, of the bacteria, that bacteria were a little bit more different than previously thought. So now there are 3 domains of bacteria, Archaea, and Eukaryote, and 6 kingdoms of bacteria, Archaea, Protista, Plantae, Fungi, and Animalia. So we'll just take a very quick breeze through tour. We'll be taking a look at bacteria a little more in focus with our next chapter. But the domain bacteria are very diverse. They can survive in many different types of environments. When you think of bacteria, more than likely the type of bacteria that you would be thinking of would be placed in this domain. The Archaea, these are some rather interesting types of bacteria. Sometimes they're called the extremophiles because they like to live in very harsh and toxic environments. So they have very diverse nutrition requirements compared to regular bacteria. More than likely, scientists think that the Archaea bacteria were probably very similar to the first forms of life on the planet. And if you're not a bacterium, then you are a eukaryotic organism. So the domain eukarya is everything else that is not a bacteria. And remember, to be a eukaryote, you need a nucleus in all of the cells. So we will take a very highlighted tour of all of the kingdoms. We will be focusing in on the animal kingdom, in particular with our very last unit. The kingdom Protista, these are the protists. Protists can be unicellular, multicellular, or they can live together in colonies. Protists are kind of like the bridge between bacteria and everything else. There are representatives of the kingdom Protista that are very similar to all of the other kingdoms. So kelp is a very plant-like protist. It photosynthesizes. An amoeba is an animal-like protist. It consumes resources. And there are also fungus-like protists, such as the slime mold. So the protists really are the bridge between bacteria and all other forms of life. The kingdom Fungi. Fungus is not a plant. It's often confused as a plant because it's not an animal, but fungi are not photosynthetic. They are heterotrophic. Fungus can be unicellular or multicellular. Fungus has cell walls, so they absorb nutrients from organic materials in their environment, so they are heterotrophs. The kingdom Plantae. Plants, of course, are all multicellular. They have cell walls, of course, composed of cellulose and photosynthesize. Some will also have the route of getting other alternative nutrients. For example, the pitcher plant that traps flies or insects to digest for that extra material, or like a Venus flytrap that also catches flies. Those plants, they don't photosynthesize, but they still have cell walls composed of cellulose and fit all of the other parts of the kingdom Plantae. Then, of course, the kingdom Animalia. All animals are heterotrophic, we're all multicellular, and we're all eukaryotic. We have complex organ systems, some, of course, more complex than others. In the kingdom Animalia, as a logical kind of response, we have starting from simple, and there's many, many, many upgrades as we go through the animal kingdom to complex organisms such as mammals that have a cardiovascular system, a respiratory system, excretory, and all digestive, immune systems. So kingdom Animalia we will focus in our very last unit when we take a look at different mammals. So this has been Chapter 17, Part 3 on Organizing Life's Diversity.